Cool, and welcome. Thanks for joining. Yes, we are live and YouTube. We're live here. So cool. Thanks for joining, and we will get started really soon. I just need to see who is here. Cool. Yes. Thanks for attending. Let me see here. Who do we have? Of people joining. Yes. Cool. Yes. So my name is Daniel Groverson. I'm the founder of Figaf, and today we'll talk about how you can build a business case to automate your SAP integration workflows, making it easier to deliver integration in the best possible way. If you have any questions along the way, just put them into the chat, or we'll find out later if you watch this at at a replay. So yes, let's get started. So we'll first cover a little about what Figaf is. What is it that we see of trends in the integration space? What is going on? What is the Figaf Suite? What are some of the business cases that we see for this? Some scenarios that happens, and then we have time for some Q&A. So let's get started. So what I see for integration over the next couple of years is a large number of SAP integration projects. And one of the things that we see is, I think it was Gartner that estimated that 30 to 40% of your integration costs or your project cost came from integrations. And considering the huge amount of projects that are going on with the S4 migrations, etc., it really matters and makes a good business case for you to understand what is going on here. And if you can reduce the time cost of your integration with a few percent, it has a good impact of the overall project cost. So one of the questions you obviously need to ask yourself is, are you able to improve? Are you able to expand your team with enough skilled developers? Just get here on the chat section also. And also, what happens? Do you have enough data in your organization to be able to share and hand over work for these scenarios? So some of the benefits that we hear from customers, and I guess this is the short summary of what you would see. We'll go more into details with a lot of these benefits. It's about being able to deliver integration faster with automated tools for documentation testing. It's about reducing complexity. So a lot of times when I've been out working, there has been 3 different places I needed to do update whenever I was doing a transport, and it became difficult to understand what was going on, where I needed to make modifications, etc. And then it's about increasing the quality with testing. If we also talk about some of the other aspects, is that when you're delivering integration, if you have messages that fails, there is a big problem with these ones. And this is something that you need to work with. So it is not just the integration department that had a problem, it's the full business that have some problems. And then it's about getting rid of the documentation work that you have. So you don't need to spend a lot of time working on things that could be automated. And then it's about effortless support when you're doing bug fixes. And I think lastly, I guess this underlines all of these concepts. This is about saving time and money. Well, time, which equals money in today's world. And yeah, as a rule of thumb, if you have 6 to 10 changes, that would cover the licensing cost of the Figaf system. So that is what we would be looking at today. First off, what is Figaf DevOps Suite? What is the component of it? So Figaf DevOps Suite contains a number of components, and we've been working on making all of it automated and into one package that makes it easier for you to work on. So the suite contains a migration tool that migrates from PI to CPI, a testing tool that allow you to test PI and CPI, and also the migrated scenarios. And then lastly, we have the DevOps tool that allows you to take content and transport it in your landscape. So we replaced the CTS Plus Cloud Transport Management because we think our process is better because you have the title link between what you're making of changes and what is going on. So the DevOps Suite, if we just have one slide to try to convey this is about being able to test your integration, being able to create test cases fast and run them to show what is being changed. It is the DevOps being able to take and transport content with configuration and approvals, all of these things that you would expect from now. It's about being able to monitor, react fast to changes. It's a repository. There's a Git repository that allows you to easily get access to the code, make modifications to it. And then the last thing is something that can run on a lot of different scenarios. It can run on SAP BTP, Cloud Foundry, on the different hyperscalers, Linux, Windows, Docker, or it can even run on a laptop for proof of concept. For productive use, it's not really the case. And then we have it that it runs for both SAP PI PO, integration, and API management. Overarching all of these things is about governance, being able to govern your integration, and the output is cheaper, better integration solutions. If we look at the migration tool, which is a separate tool, then it contains all the artifacts that you need to take to convert from an ICO to an iFlow, being able to it generates routings, converts mappings, channels, message mappings would have CLOOKUP functions, all of these different things that you would expect from a migration process. Then it gives you an overview of what you're working on. It enables you to test the integrations, and then you can obviously also transport it as the DevOps capability. And that this is about faster migration, consistent result, and then spending time on where you can really add value as the last bullet point I'm covering. So one of the challenges that a lot of customers face is that they are or need to follow some of these different guidances on and governance models. This could be Sarbanes-Oxley. If you're registered on the New York Stock Exchange, then you need to follow this as a best practice. About you need to register all the changes that happens, who make them, and what is going on with it. It could also be ITIL, where you have a framework for what are the change requests, what are the deliverables that we need to have for you to make any modifications. Corbit, HIPAA, or GDPR, that also some frameworks that you need to understand. How does these affect your business? In Figaf, our tooling will give you some assistance in complying with these rules, making it easier for you to manage them. And we might as well just talk about the licensing. So the license is based on the number of ICOs or iFlows that you use the tool for. The first 100 iFlows is 10,000 euros, and then subsequent iFlows is 5,000 euros per year. And yeah, if you have more, I know there's a lot of large installations. Ask, and we'll find a price that match your need. This includes upgrades, support, and you can also make feature requests to improve some of the functionality. Another point, obviously, there's some other costs. There's and getting started costs, as with all platforms. You need to find out how this would work. Normally, we say like 5,000 to 10,000 euros should get you started. This is both getting internal approval. It's about installing, configuring, training, and updating. Some of this can go to us. Others can go just as your internal cost. And then you need hosting for this, which is 300 plus euros a month, depending on the size of your installation. What are your requirements? I do talk euros now. I guess that's the same in US dollars at the current rates. Okay, so let's talk about the business case for the DevOps Suite. What is it that makes this so cool? And yes, and to do this, we have a story here. It's Acme Inc. There are 4 internal and 3 or 5 external consultants that work in the integration department. There is it's a company with €1 billion in turnover. The landscape is 300 ICOs and 100 iFlows, and that matches really well with what I see at smaller companies, well, smaller, large companies out there. It's in that range that they have integration, and obviously you have customers that have tens of thousands of integrations they need to manage. So roughly they spend about 2 million euros a year on this, and we just calculate with an internal mixed rate of 100 euros per hour, or 90 euros per hour, sorry. So when you're using the Figaf tool, there's a few things that it does to simplify the way you're delivering your integration, and this is these things. So in the development process, when you have the tool, it gives you some advantages that you can make it easy to resolve certain items. So it's being able to see how an iFlow works by triggering test messages. It's about using the Git repository to fetch all the relevant data that you have and code, find out who have made different scenarios that looks like this before, and even debug some of the Git repositories you have. Once you've done the development, you need to start testing. And normally this definitely needs to take like 4 hours. And with the tool, it is really easy and just take 1 hour. So this is how I try to phrase this, that normally you spend some time on these things. And with the Figaf, it is a lot less. If we look at creating transports, then this is about you creating the transport, exporting it. It's about documenting what are the external configurations or communication channel parameters that you need. And then it is about documenting that you have tested this and registering all the updates. Here's also some time. It most likely take 2 hours at least. Then you need to send it to approval. This is one of the things where when I've worked at clients, that's been a challenge, going around chasing the architect to say, I got this transport, please approve it. And it always took a long time to find the relevant people to work with on these scenarios. So I said 3 hours here. It both include your and their time. Then you need to do import. And if you on a PI system or a CPI, you need to import it. You need to go in and find out all the different communication channels you needed to update and configure. And once you're done with that, you needed to go in and document everything, make sure that was updated, uploaded the correct place. So if I add all of this together, normally it would take 14 hours. With the Figaf, just 1.2 hours. So for the development, I'm just saying that the Figaf tool saves 1 hour here compared to normally. I think, well, I guess this is an average, so it's probably in that range. But I could imagine that there's definitely scenarios where it would be many times this. So with the Figaf tool, you save 12 hours per transport that you're creating. So this becomes a substantial amount. And if you try to calculate this, so the number of CTS transporters, transport management transports, multiplied, and in this case we have 200 transport multiplied by the number of hours saved, that is 2,400 hours, or the equivalent to almost 1.5 employee year. If we update this, then it becomes 216,000 euros that could be saved using this, so almost 10% of the clients or this integration project. We also look at some of the time savings with testing or with support. So this is whenever you find an issue. With the Figaf tool, we have a capability that allows us to easily find alerts or problems, report them, create rules for them, so it's easy next time something fails to catch these items. That means it becomes a lot faster to resolve. You probably here save like 3 hours per incident, and if you have 400 incidents a year, it's 108,000 euros a year that the tool can save you. One of the other areas where I think there is a benefit to customers is on the time saving for the management. When you're onboarding, well, there's both being able to control what are the different projects that is going on, who is handling these different scenarios, coordinating between the teams, the developer, understand if something has been moved into production. And then obviously, each time you onboard or offboard a person, you need to train them and show what are the different scenarios we have. With an integrated tool, it becomes a lot easier. I've just said that it probably would save 5 hours a week, which estimates is 18,000 euros a year. If we add all of these things together, then it is 342,000 euros that the tool can save you. And with a cost of 40,000 euros, it is really a good business case. So you'll get the return 855 times, which is pretty cool, I would say. Yes. And then obviously you can do the same calculations, find out how many transport you had in your system over the last year. How much would you estimate that the tool can save you? And if it is just, how much time do you spend on it? What do you think that the Figaf tool can save on some of these items? Multiply it by the rate, and then you get the potential savings of this. One of the items we can also talk about is what does a failure cost you in the system. So when we in the integration team just look at the cost of an integration, we just say, okay, we need to spend 3 hours fixing this. But that is not really the full cost for the organization, because you have a business process that is not working. And if you are not able to fix it, it costs a lot of money each day that this is not working. Obviously, a lot of this can be recouped by handling different processes. But there is things that cannot be done. And then, yeah, if it's just a financial loss of 1 million euro per day for some process that is not working, it is really, or it does have a big difference about if you follow practices to make the integration better. There's also some intangible benefits, and I think these are obviously a little more challenging to figure out what they are, but it's definitely about reducing the risk by having some better processes. Being able to create an audit trail to say, okay, yes, we know this item was imported on this date by this reason, by this person, because the business asked for this, and thereby document it. You'll get some happier developer and architects. I don't know many architects that enjoy doing reviews of integrations, because that is one of the more boring things. Giving them a good way to do it and automating it makes it a lot easier. They still need to do approvals, but at least they have everything in one go. It's easier to onboard people because you have just one place where you need to say, okay, this is how we work. And then it enables trust in or improves the trust in your organization because you have a faster release time. One of the other things we can also look at is the migration tool, and I don't know if that is where you are at the moment, but here we say, okay, I think most of the customers here is about 200 ICOs that they need to migrate. I have heard budget for these or proposals from these from anywhere from 200,000 to 1 million euros for the project. So, and I guess a lot of times you would be using some external consultants to work on these scenarios because, well, it is not core. It is just a lot of work that you need to perform for this to work. If we again look at some of the different tasks that you have in a migration, so for each ICO or iFlow that or receiver determination you need to migrate, you need to convert it to an iFlow, you need to convert mappings, channels, and with the tool you speed up the time for this. I think one of the other area is testing, and is it Gartner that is saying that 60% of a migration cost is regarding testing? I think that is probably quite true because there's a lot of items involved in this. And with the Figaf tool, you can save a lot of time on the testing because you can take data from your PI system, send it through your CPI system, and then you got a valid test case. You can prove this works as expected. And then you want to move the item into production. Here I've just said that it takes 4 hours, but in the previous slide, you obviously had a savings of 12 hours for doing such a transport. If we add this up, you save 16 hours per transport that you need to work on. And then, so when you're doing migration, that is obviously not everything can be migrated one-to-one. The current stats that I'm getting is about 70% can be migrated. So that's 140 migrations that you can do, each saving 16 hours. That's almost one employee a year. And if you look at the cost savings, it is about 200,000 euros that you can save it. And with our license costs, it's just 1,400 euros. So really a good business case also. Obviously, yeah, if you're getting the lower end of the 200,000 euros, there's still a lot of benefits to using the tool for these things. And yeah, you can perform your own migration. Your own calculation here by going to this URL. Then you can put in the numbers, how many ICOs you have, what's going on, your rates, how much do you think that the tool can can automate, and then you get out a number. And I need to move because otherwise you cannot see the important part of it. And here we can see that for this project it costs 360,000. With the Figaf tool, it just costs 233,000 for our 17,000 euro investment. So really a good business case also in the migration tooling. Some of the different cases that we have seen with customers. So typically they say that it becomes easier to release content. They improve the system stability. They resolve a lot of the bottlenecks around testing. So a lot of times I've talked with clients that say, well, it is really difficult to get person X to help out with our testing. And when we have the tool, it really simplifies some of these processing. It resolves some of the, reduce the amount of routine work involved in handling transport and governance. And then it's about improving the overall quality of your system with fewer errors. One of our large consumer goods customers were involved in a PI or an S4 HANA project. And for that, they needed to both reconfigure a lot of the integrations. They needed to transport a lot of integrations. And when they were doing this, they used Excel sheets to handle the transport between these different things. And to do that, this was a lot easier using Excel or whatever. So the time spent on the governance was really high, and there was also error prone because the Excel, and there could be a difference between the Excel and what the basis people inserted into. And then there was also some limitations on testing and transport. Some of the results they got was that it was a lot easier to handle the transports. With all the documentation, they did not need to use Excel anymore. It was a lot easier to configure channels and have the approval, which led to fewer errors. And then they had a simplified process and communication in the tool without going back and forth between these other systems. One of the key aspects and reasons they mentioned was that they did a system update of 100 plus IQs, and they did that in 1 hour instead of 4 hours as they had expected it would take to do this with the manual process. So in that perspective, it really helped out the client a lot. Another large retailer, they were testing CPI iFlows, and each time a developer released an iFlow, they created a test case to prove that it worked. And then they had a central repository where all test cases were. So whenever there was a problem with some of the integrations, they could always run these scenarios and thereby get an understanding about does it work, and then also look at how things were going and what we can do with these things. So tests could easily be updated. It did require a bit of a tool to get started for developers to understand how do we create test cases. But I guess that is true with any scenario, no matter if you're doing it Postman or some other scenarios. Currently, they have around 100 test cases for iFlow, so it is really something that they, I don't know if they enjoy, but at least they're using and are getting a lot of value from. We did another client or consulting company that were working on a migration project. They used our tool to handle PI to CPI migration, where they created about 90 test cases from PI and converted them to CPI. And this simplified the delivery process that they were were working on. Made it a lot easier for them to manage what was going on and improve the quality and documentation that they have for these scenarios to run. And yeah, we did improve the tool based on some of the support requests we got from them, because yeah, we could see that there was a lot of ways we could improve, making the experience for the developers much better. We do have an upcoming webinar with this on this topic, so since you're stay tuned, check the Figaf site and check the emails that you receive on this. I'm really looking forward to them sharing their story on this and showing what the tool does. So there's two others. The one that used the tool for testing PI, they had some EDI messages that they needed to convert, a lot of upgrade projects going on. So yeah, this simplifies these things. And then yeah, some results: faster upgrades, better documented, fewer problems with it. I don't understand why we're going to build scenarios for this question. And then Olympus, that did a CPI development, they simplified the use by with our tool to have a better understanding of who were doing which integrations, what was going on, and who made changes to these scenarios. And yeah, I guess the best one is that the developers can focus on what they're best at, development, not all these other configuration things that is boring. And yeah, increased speed. They also saved one CPI tenant. We do have a way to limit the scenarios for this, or limit the number of systems, so you can reuse your test for both test and QA, or your development for both development and QA, thereby saving a tenant. We didn't put that into the calculator because that is just for integration suite scenarios. Cool. How do you build your own business case for this? I hope this has been interesting. So there's some different ways you can do. You can get a slide deck, and this would also be showed somewhere on the website that you can download this. If you're in the webinar, I can share this preview here. So you can get that and download it. And see, try this slides yourself, go through the different business cases, put in your number, and show how this would work for you. We do have a free resource here. Let me see if I can find the link here. Oh, I don't have it. Otherwise, Michael will probably find it. Otherwise, you can find it on figaf.com. Here we have the help section. It is in the chat now. And yeah, here there's a lot of resources on migration, what you can do, what makes sense, etc. So I do well. So hopefully you go through some of these exercises yourself, show what are the tangible and examples of how you're spending your time. What is it that you're spending time on when you're creating your integrations? What is it? What kind of processes do you actually do? Where do you spend time? And yeah, emphasis on some of the things that where the tool really can make sense, and this is in the delivery process. And yeah, don't be afraid to highlight where the tool really makes it easier for you to do your integration, because at the end of the day, the tool is designed to make your life easier. So you can get started with it today. You can sign up for a free trial. Let me just see here. There's a free trial here. Full slide. So there's a free trial. you can sign up to do that. And when you go there, yeah, you would be able to use the tool, try it out, see how it works, and yeah, it is really easy to get started with the tool and understanding how it works and how you can deliver these, and thereby get an understanding of our current process looks like this. With the tool, we can save these amounts, and obviously, if there's problems, reach out to us and we can help you with the configuration, with the business cases. And I guess that is the next slide here. Go to figaf.com/book and talk about how the tool could quick meeting here, so slide out. So here you can see sign up for a session, and we can talk about what are your scenario, what is it that you want, and either do it at a 30 or 90-minute session where we would cover more details about how it works for you. So actually I had a 30-minute session with the customer showing what could be done, and they purchased it after just a 30-minute session. So it really depends on where you are, what you want to see, but it is quite easy to go through some of these scenarios. If you are a consultant, we do have a partnership program. Can I unshare these things? Yeah, where if you sign up, you can get some different accesses to training, trial licenses, demos, and get some understanding about how this could work for you. And obviously, you need to present the same business case for your clients because that is what they want to see. We embed this to your project. This would work in this way. For you, the business case is a little different, but we do cover that in the partnership program, so check that out. Yes, so it's time for Q&A. If you have any questions, just put them into the chat and we can cover those. Otherwise, yeah, that was what I wanted to cover today. I hope this has been interesting. You saw some useful information about what could be done here and what would be useful for your scenarios. So yes, thanks for attending, and yeah, if you have any questions, comments afterwards, go to figaf.com and write a message there, and then we will try to resolve it and help you create a business case so you can save your time on some of these different scenarios. So thanks for watching.